This is a comparison of two PlayStation 2 driving simulators, Enthusia and Gran Turismo 4, on the Nürburgring Nordschleife. To be in equal grounds, I used the 1989 R32 Nissan Skyline GTR V-Spec 2 with 276 brake horsepower and 353 Nm of torque. Hatzenbach, the first corner, already shows the main difference. The car in GT4 is very prone to understeer, even with all the gadgets deactivated and the slippery road tires. Here we see that a lift-off realistically causes oversteer in Enthusia, which it doesn't in Gran Turismo 4. The entrance to Hocheichen shows another flaw of GT4's driving physics. Left-right combinations under braking don't unsettle the car, it stays perfectly grippy. In Enthusia, I have to brake and steer very carefully not to spin out. Now we have come to a part where Gran Turismo 4 shines over Enthusia. The looks. While Enthusia's Nordschleife looks grey and dull, the late afternoon sun in GT4 makes everything look very atmospheric. Also, Gran Turismo 4's track is bumpier. One example of this is the Flugplatz, which is smooth in Enthusia, but gets you airborne in Gran Turismo 4. Here, Enthusia catches up with Gran Turismo's advantage of the rolling start, because Gran Turismo's understeery behavior costs much time in the corners. Here you can see that landmarks like huge trees and buildings are correct in both versions. Enthusia has less variety in trees though, which adds to the dullness of the track, as does the lack of graffiti on the road. Seifen is another prime example of GT4's understeer versus Enthusiast's oversteer. Now here's another difference. While Gran Turismo 4 outputs the Skyline's power as 304 brake horsepower as opposed to the 276 in the selection screen, The Enthusia car reaches a higher top speed. Now we enter the Caracciola carousel. Again, Gran Turismo 4 is superior. The concrete differs from the tarmac in both sound and grip, while it's owned in optical acid in the Enthusia with no impact on the car. Now a few words on my setup. I used the Logitech G25 steering wheel, the shifter in sequential mode to shift gears, and I plugged the PlayStation 2 right into my TV card on the computer to record the video while driving. Traction control and ESP were deactivated, and I used road tires in Gran Turismo 4. As I don't have much experience in both car and the track, I apologize for the rather relaxed cruise. On the choice of the car, I'm actually not that fond of the Skyline. It's just that it's the only reasonably quick car that is identical in both games and choosable without having to unlock content. The fact that it is a four-wheel drive car somewhat hides the differences in both games. The oversteer versus understeer would be much more pronounced in a front-engine rear-wheel driven car. As I haven't driven a real Skyline over the Nordschleife yet, I can't really comment on which game is the better and more realistic. But to me, Enthusiast driving feels more alive and accurate, thus more realistic. Still, Gran Turismo 4's track is just much more detailed and it's bumpier, so I think the track in Gran Turismo is more realistic. So conclusively, it comes down to your preferences, if you want to have a more accurate portrayal of the track or a more accurate portrayal of driving itself. That's all from me now, just sit back and enjoy the rest of the lap.